Hello, it is 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition for tonight. Headlines. We have the head of state presides over the launch of the 5th annual Somali Intellectual Forum. For the international scene, 3 days after the tornadoes, the search for the missing continues. Help is organized in USA. Welcome to our newsroom. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, proceeded this Monday morning in a ceremony that took place at the People's Palace to the launching of the 5th General Meeting of the Institute Heritage, a famous instance of Somali integration of the region and the diaspora. Listen to Hidayah Muhammad Abdullahi.
This Forum of Somali Intellectuals, organized by the Heritage Institute, brings together Somali intellectuals opened at the People's Palace. Upon his arrival, the President of the Republic was welcomed by the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed and members of the Heritage Institute. At this forum of ideas, under the auspices of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh brought together leading intellectuals from the Horn of Africa, policymakers, practitioners, business leaders, civil society, opinion makers, academics, and Somali activists from the Horn of Africa, as well as experts from the diaspora. On average, nearly 270 policymakers and opinion makers have attended this annual event. This initiative, the Somali Institute for Research and Policy Studies Heritage, which is in its 5th edition, carried in its hard discussions on this turbulent period that the Horn of Africa is witnessing and the prospects for a sustainable stability. Indeed, the Horn region in general is going through potentially devastating instabilities that require today a comprehensive understanding, collective thinking, and knowledge-based mitigation strategies. These major issues will be debated in a robust and frank exchange of views over 3 days. The Institute has invited legislators from all Somali inhabited countries in the Horn of Africa, as well as academics and businessmen, opinion makers, and civil society from Kenya, Somalia, Somaliland, Ethiopia, and Djibouti, as well as the diaspora, all invited to deliberate on these critical issues of peace and state building during the 3-day conference. It should be emphasized that this forum of Somali intellectuals serves as a platform for the exchange of ideas and views on the role that Somali communities can play in peace, security, and development in the Horn of Africa region. It serves as a framework for in-depth discussions among Somali elites from all walks of life, political, economic, intellectual, and other civil society leaders. Thus, these 3 days of work will lead to recommendations that are meant to serve as a working and reflection matrix for the government of the region and any other organizations or structure invested with the power to act. This conference is intended to be a platform for discussions and explorations where researchers and intellectuals will contribute to the analysis of the fundamental problems in the region, as well as finding and searching for solutions, sustainable solutions.
It is in a speech tinged with the proverbial wisdom that the Djibouti #1 held this morning at the podium of the People's Palace at the launch of the 5th edition of the Forum of Ideas. Listen to Dini Musa.
I am honored to be with you today, and I welcome you to Djibouti, your second country. Djibouti will not cease to mark its availability to host positive forums that are intended to increase the friendship, brotherhood, and complementarity of the peoples of our region. For the past 4 years, we have been providing the necessary ecosystem for the blossoming of reflections and exchange so that this forum is a place of freedom of spirit. The Heritage Institute is a platform of exchange that brings together people, including political and business leaders, academics, and civil society actors, to discuss strategic issues. The Institute brings together all those who could not help but think for Somalia and the Horn itself. their vocation to be in the fray, to be one with the masses, to embrace the struggles of their time. When I see men, it does not mean that there are no women. On the contrary, both men and women are fighting the same battle. Both fight urgently for the same ideal, beyond any personal interest. It is that of the general interest. The intellectual has the role of informing the people. He strives to educate and inform his population. The intellectual is the one who asks himself the question, how could I bring my stone to edifice? How could I accompany and convert my colleagues for a better ideal at these times of great upheavals at the level of our region, which is the Horn of Africa, which is exposed to major perils? Needs more than ever, these intellectuals, they have the duty to be the compass, the prescriber and the scud. The discussions and reports of these reflections must be the leaflet for policymakers. If these exchanges have borne fruit, then the intellectual in his vocation to inform becomes the force that guides the population. Thus, this center of strategic reflection constitutes a force of reflection that favors the emergence of a continuance of proposals to the various contemporary questions. There is a saying in Somalia that says, everyone gazes his herd, but everyone sends his cow to graze as sees fit. So it is really rare to be gathered all together in one place with your soul and conscience telling you that you can be useful. As I said, you are all welcome in Djibouti for this 5th edition of the forum, and we participate with you in these discussions. In this exchange, we must speak the truth, without taboo or language of wood. Listen to us, without prejudice, with an open mind in all, humanism and simplicity. The Institute is indispensable for everyone, so once again, I welcome you all because our mission is to work for the well-being of everyone, and each one brings his stone to the edifice, and we will accompany you in this noble quest. I declare the forum open.
wanaagsan waxaan leenahay assalaamu calaykum waraxmatullaahi wabarakaatuh.
The Minister of Budget, Abdul Karim Aden Chair, and his team of collaborators continued this Monday, December 13, the debate at the National Assembly with the Committee on Finance, General Economy and Planning in the framework of the examinations of the draft Law of Finance number 135E and 218L bearing final settlement of the state budget for the year 2020. Participating today in this session, the Minister of Agriculture, Water, Fishery, Livestock and Fishery Resources, Mohamed Ahmed Awale, questioned on the progress of the project implemented by his department. Mohamed Ahmed Awale replied on many points, including the boreholes executed, those in progress and those scheduled. He also made a brief presentation on the profitability of national agricultural production, explaining that there was the threshold of investment below which it was not possible to consider a profitable agriculture. The Minister of City, Urbanism and Housing, Ms. Amina Abdi Aden, has addressed the project Zero Slums and the criteria for allocations of social housing, which were based primarily on household income. The income bracket between 15,000 and 100,000 were the most numerous in the housing applications. As for the plots of land put up for sale by his ministry, the cost of the land was relatively low compared to the cost of servicing and various networks, roads, electricity, water, telecom. The Minister of Budget finally clarified the financing of all these projects in the file of water, agriculture, and the constructions of social housing. All these projects had a national counterpart for the national budget. The Minister of National Education Vocational Training received today in his office the Deputy Minister of Education and Science of Somaliland, Dr. Abdul Hakim Said Muse. The meeting took place in the presence of the Djibouti ambassador to Somaliland and his Somaliland counterpart in Djibouti, as well as the Secretary General of the and Senior Staff of MENFOP, Minister Mustafa Mohamed Mahmoud, warmly welcomed his distinguished visitor during a very short one-on-one meeting. Then he emphasized the unbreakable ties and the long traditions of brotherhood between the two countries. The high-ranking Somaliland official said he was very touched by the marks of brotherhood and friendship that were shown to him. He said that the exchanges and sharing of experience in education and vocational training are part of the strategic priority between the Republic of Djibouti and Somaliland. For his part, the Deputy Somali Minister of Education, Mr. Abdul Hakim Said Musa, said that for his part, I would like to thank the Minister Mustafa Muhammad Mahmoud for welcoming me in his office in Djibouti. I wanted to meet with the Djibouti Minister of Menfop to talk with him about education and more particularly vocational training. As we are two brotherly countries, we have the same priority for our young students. So we are here today to improve the bilateral relations between our two ministries, and especially in the file of vocational training. Djibouti is very advanced in the file of integration of youth in the labor file thanks to its political vision on vocational training. The Minister of Labor in charge of formalization and social protection, Ismail Ibrahim Roble, received in the afternoon in his office the new UNDP resident representative, Ms. Emma Guan Ano. This meeting is part of the new representative's contact with members of the government. The minister and the representatives discussed together the ways and means to strengthen the existing cooperation between the Ministry of Labor in charge of formalization and social protection and the UNDP, which is an important partner for the department. Teams such as employment, administrative reforms, formalization, and social protection were discussed. As part of his working visit program, the Minister of Muslim Affairs and Waqf, Mumin Hassan Barre, had discussions with his counterpart of Waqf, Mr. Muhammad Mukhtar Jum'a, at the headquarters of the Supreme Council of Islamic Affairs, and thereafter the minister had a meeting with the Grand Mufti of the Republic of Egypt, Dr. Shawki Alam. The two parties discussed the ways and means to strengthen bilateral cooperation meeting between the two brotherly countries. During the meeting with his counterpart, the minister was informed about the efforts made by the Egyptian ministries to fight against religious extremism. To this end, several websites and television channels have been created to disseminate the moderate and enlightened truth of Islam. Taking this opportunity, the minister Muhammad Mukhtar Jum'a handed over to the minister an official invitation to take part in the work of the 32 Conference of the Supreme Councils for Islamic Affairs to be held in Cairo next February. The caravaneers of the movement of the United One and Indivisible Youth went this morning in the Balbala municipality this Thursday, December 9, to organize a meeting with the youth of the municipality of Balbala to raise awareness and remind the youth of Balbala the importance of citizenship, patriotism, volunteerism for the development of our country. The objective is to promote and bring together the youth to orient them toward the culture of citizenship, volunteerism, patriotism, and social cohesion in the municipality of Balbala. Took part in this event but National Secretary of Youth Mahad Hussein, the Vice President and Secretary General of the municipality of Balbala, Mahad Idris, as well as the elected officials, youth organization of the municipality of Balbala, and the civil society. The gendarmes of the Ali Sabih Brigade, in collaboration with the customs, says a record amount of contraband last week, fighting Bari and Sul against the attacks on the national economy. The investigators of Ali Sabih have collected information that a large consignment of smuggled cat was going to be introduced into Djibouti from the border. The gendarmes then put their experience to good use by setting up an appropriate arrest mechanism near the border of Galilee at the level of the wadi called Sufi. The smugglers had no choice but to fall into the net set up by the gendarmes of Ali Sabih. This large-scale operation led to the arrest of 19 individuals and seizure of 20 packages containing one of them 100 bundles, a total of 2,000 bundles of smuggled cat. The market value of this contraband product is estimated about 2 million Djibouti franc. They were destroyed by fire according to the rules of the procedures in the presence of the agents of the customs. All those involved were brought to justice to answer for their actions. For the international scene, dozens of people are still missing in Kentucky, USA. On Friday, about 13 tornadoes crossed 6 states, leaving a trail of destruction for hundreds of miles. The town of Mayfield, with a population of 10,000, has become the symbol of these devastations. The provisional death toll is around 100 to 80 in Kentucky alone. Here, rescue teams continue to search for possible survivors, even though hope in dwindling. President Joe Biden has approved a state of emergency, and federal disaster response agencies have begun to deploy. Aid is being organized with volunteers distributing food, clothing, and hygiene products. Local churches are heavily mobilized, offering shelters to those left with nothing. About 40 people have been rescued from what is now a tangle of metal girders, but at least 16 others are still missing, and authorities say it is unlikely that there are any more survivors. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.